Good evening and welcome back. If you care about national security, government transparency, and conflicts of interest at the highest levels of power, you are going to want to pay close attention to this. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss coverage like this, because what happened in today's Kash Patel hearing raises serious questions that go far beyond partisan politics.
Gentleman from Georgia is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, thank you for being here today. I want to first talk about the significant role that the FBI plays in combating the national security threats posed by our nation's greatest threat, our nation's greatest security threat, China and the Chinese Communist Party. It's a fact that China is America's most significant national security threat, isn't that correct?
I would say so, sir.
And you would agree with me that China wants to dominate the United States of America?
I think that's largely their plan.
And they want to dominate the world, both militarily and economically, isn't that correct?
I think so.
And sir, you've been FBI director for the last, 8 months?
7 months, yes.
7 months, and during that time, have you held any stock in any companies founded in China?
I don't believe so.
Well, you do own stock in a company known as Elite Depot, don't you?
Which one, sorry?
Elite Depot. You own stock.
I think that's, I'll have to get back to you. I think it's a law firm and it's a company out of Singapore.
Okay, well, no, the company out of Singapore, which is owned by Elite Depot, is the Shein Company, which was founded in China, correct?
That company operates out of Taiwan.
Well, they changed their headquarters from China back in 2022 to Singapore for tax purposes, but it's owned by a Chinese billionaire. I think his name is Charlie Zhu. And you own stock in the company that owns Shein.
Which I disclosed during my confirmation process.
You certainly did. And now, do you still hold that stock in that Chinese company?
Pursuant to the Department of Justice, who reviewed my material that was submitted during my confirmation process, I was able to hold certain stocks, and they made the decision.
You still hold the stocks that you have? You still hold on to these Chinese stocks, these stocks in this Chinese company?
I disagree that it's a Chinese company, but I was in the DOJ, when you're appointed, makes a call on what you can and can't possess.
Well, now, let me ask you this. Chinese companies steal trademarks. They produce counterfeit products and sell them over the internet on platforms such as Shein. They steal intellectual property. They steal data from American companies. And to me, it seems inconsistent with your role as FBI director that you would own stock in a company that is based in a country that is the nation's premier national security threat. It's like you are putting your own financial security over the security of the nation.
I disagree with that characterization.
Well, I think the American people look at it like it's a classic situation of the fox guarding the hen house. If the FBI is charged with investigating espionage, economic espionage by companies controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, and you are the director of the FBI, you've got a conflict of interest.
Sir, I would just show if there's any intimation that I'm against.
Why are you holding on to this stock?
It wasn't a decision I made.
And it's valued at up to $5 million as of when you last reported, correct? $5 million in stock?
No, I don't follow it.
You don't follow it, but you're still making money off of it.
I don't have any money off of anything.
Well,
what I have done...
Trump's trade policies directly impact the value of that Chinese stock. Won't you agree with that?
Which trade policy? I'm not a trade expert.
Okay, all right.
But I want to tell you
Play
this.
crazy on me today. Let me ask you this question. Why are you hiding pedophiles? Why are you shielding pedophiles? Why are you protecting pedophiles?
That is maybe the most offensive thing you could say to me, given the numbers.
Well, you have not released
Given the
Epstein
numbers
files.
of pedophiles.
You are aware of the
we have
Epstein
arrested-
client list that was published in the 18,000
The gentleman
emails
has
released.
expired. The gentleman yields
Can I just-
back.
Can he answer the
Can
question?
I just respond?
Of course, the gentleman can answer the question.
Since I took over the FBI, there has been a 33% increase.
Sir, all of that
Encounter-
started under Christopher
Your time
Ray.
is done, but
No,
the-
it didn't.
The witness gets
All
to
of
answer
that
the
started
question,
under
and
the
then we'll go to our
previous,
next.
33.
FBI director, sir, and you're coming in here trying to take credit for something that a previous director
Gentlemen,
instituted and largely brought to conclusion.
I take
I
no
think it's
credit.
been clear that
offensive.
the director
It's offensive.
has numbers are so
incorrect
much
also.
better than the previous director.
It's
Director Patel, if you
deceptive.
want to
I take-
answer the question.
I take no credit. The men and women of the FBI have seen a 33% increase in the number of counterintelligence arrests out of the PRC.
So all of a sudden, with you
the-
coming in 7 months ago,
and,
Gentlemen's time has
Heaven on earth.
expired.
and on
sir,
the pedophile
American public not gonna
accusation,
go for that.
we have arrested 1,500 child predators in the last 7 months.
Under
That's more
investigations
than
initiated by
anybody
the prior
Appreciate the
directorship.
director's good work, and we really appreciate that the time the gentleman has expired. We now
During a tense exchange on Capitol Hill, a congressman from Georgia pressed FBI Director Kash Patel on what many lawmakers consider America's most significant national security threat, China and the Chinese Communist Party. This was not a casual line of questioning. It was deliberate, pointed, and rooted in growing bipartisan concern about China's global ambitions and its reach into American institutions. The congressman began by establishing common ground, asking Patel whether China represents the greatest national security threat to the United States. Patel agreed. He also agreed that China seeks to dominate not just the United States, but the world, militarily and economically. These are not controversial statements in Washington. Intelligence agencies have warned for years about China's strategic goals, its influence operations, and its economic leverage. But the hearing took a sharp turn when the questioning shifted from theory to personal financial ties. The congressman asked a simple but explosive question. During his time as FBI director, had Kash Patel held stock in any companies founded in China? Patel initially said he did not believe so, but as the questioning continued, a specific company name was introduced, Elite Depot. Patel hesitated, suggesting it might be a law firm or a Singapore-based company. That hesitation opened the door to deeper scrutiny, and this is where things became more complicated and more concerning. The congressman explained that Elite Depot is connected to a company known as Shein, often referred to publicly as Shein, a global fast fashion giant. While Patel argued that the company operates out of Taiwan and relocated its headquarters to Singapore in 2022 for tax purposes, the congressman pointed out that the company was founded in China and is reportedly owned by a Chinese billionaire. This distinction matters. In national security oversight, the question is not just where a company claims to be headquartered today, but where its roots are, who controls it, and where its financial and political ties lead. That is why lawmakers press Patel on whether he still holds stock in the company. Patel confirmed that he does. He stated that he disclosed the holdings during his confirmation process and that the Department of Justice reviewed his financial disclosures and allowed him to retain certain stocks. In other words, Patel's defense is procedural. He followed the rules as they were applied to him. The FBI director oversees investigations into foreign espionage, economic coercion, and national security threats, including those tied to China. Even if a financial interest is technically permitted, the appearance of a conflict can undermine public trust and raise legitimate concerns about independence and judgment. This is not about whether Kash Patel broke the law. It is about whether the standards for those entrusted with national security are strong enough in an era of global competition and foreign influence. When the head of the FBI holds stock tied to a company founded in a country the U.S. government identifies as its top adversary, the public has a right to ask questions. And this exchange shows how oversight works when it is done seriously. Lawmakers are not just reacting to headlines, they are probing relationships, disclosures, and decisions that can shape how aggressively threats are investigated and confronted. If you value this kind of in-depth breakdown that goes beyond soundbites and actually explains why these moments matter, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. We cover these hearings so you do not just watch them, you understand them. As the hearing continued, the tension underscored a broader reality in Washington today. National security is no longer just about missiles and military bases. It is about money, markets, corporate structures, and personal financial ties. And as China's economic footprint spreads globally, these questions are only going to become more frequent and more uncomfortable. This is not the last time you will hear lawmakers raise concerns like this, and it will not be the last time officials respond by pointing to disclosure forms and internal reviews. The real question is whether that will be enough to maintain public confidence in institutions tasked with protecting the country. Stay with us for continued coverage and analysis, and once again, do not forget to subscribe so you stay informed, because the details matter and the stakes could not be higher.